Welcome to our today's webinar about labXplore, our first digital platform for efficient round-robin testing. My name is Sascha Meuth. I'm the head of the labXplore-Plattform. labXplore itself is an independent project, independent from Zwickröll, but with a 100% investment and support of Zwickröll, so where we are in a very close relation and partnership. And therefore, I will show you the platform and the ideas behind labXplore within our today's webinar. First, I want to give you a short introduction about the idea of what round-robin tests are and why they are so interesting. The name it has its origin from round-robin in the non-destructive testing, where you have one sample which is rotating through different laboratories, machines, plants, whatever, and everybody is doing the same test on the same sample. And finally, the results are compared. And for this, it's very important that the sample is very stable during this time and does not change its physical behavior. In case of destructive testing, it's not possible, of course, obviously, to rotate the sample. It's there you have more or less identical sample, with a very small deviation, very homogeneous samples, and you hand over a sample or a set of samples to every location or laboratory, and everybody again is doing the same tests, and then the results are compared in the end. And why do we do this? Because a round-robin test covers the entire process of material testing, from receiving the specimen on the left hand to result transmission on the right hand when you have done your job in your lab. And it simulates, therefore, the whole order processing in your lab. And everything what can go wrong with a real order also can go wrong in a round-robin testing. So it's a way more, it covers a way more than just making sure that your equipment is working fine. So if you have your machine calibrated and everything is checked and you have certificates for all your equipment, that's a really good basis for delivering reliable test results. But it does not cover the process, and the round-robin test covered this process. From anything in logistics can go wrong. For example, temperature critical specimen is stored in a locker room or in a room where eventually the temperature is not correct. The sample preparation can go wrong. You can misinterpret the instruction which is given to you, or you have a defect in your equipment, or you misuse your equipment. You can mix up samples during this. You can make mistakes during test configurations, doing just simple typos in setting parameters, wrong configurations, misinterpretation of industry standards, which takes place very often. Then during testing, of course, there can go wrong a lot, and also during evaluation. And finally, in the result transmissions, we will see in examples that even delivering the right number with the right number of decimal digits can be a problem. So a round-robin covers this this whole process, and if you pass a round-robin with good results, it's a strong indicator that everything is fine within your lab. So in summary, it's a quality insurance tool for laboratories to make sure that the testing lab is doing the right job, though the slogan is test the testers. Because typically the laboratory is an authority who everybody is trusting in, but you need also a kind of a quality insurance system in your lab. And further, you can determine the measurement precision of a test method and validate is a test method correct for whatever you want to measure with it. And you can detect location deviations between your machines, processes, and so on. A few words on the wording of the world of round-robin testing or interlaboratory comparison testing. The proficiency test typically is a test where you that is enforced to you if you are accredited laboratory or you're awaiting your accreditation, where you took part only if you have to, and this is typically only every second year per method, and only with this lab where re-accreditation or an initial accreditation is ongoing. The very similar thing is interlaboratory comparison tests over all your labs within your company, and also over company borders with other companies, which you should do with a higher frequency, but it's maybe not that formal as an accredited version, but it can give you some hints if anything is wrong in between this 2-year interval. And the smaller version of this is an internal ILC, where you compare your labs within your company against each other. And this is the location constraint, and also you can do this over time, typically for establishing control charts, SPCs, daily checks, and so on, where you do the test every day or every week within one location or at one single machine, and compare your results towards the history of this machine. And finally, which is very rare, but is a really strong and powerful method, is in a hybrid version where you repeat a round robin over location, over different locations, over time. And so you get a real strong data set. And then you can figure out if at any place, at any time, something is going wrong. And now, just a simple case study of a simple case. It happened real in the world. It's happened at a customer. The background, it's a customer producing plastic filaments at several production sites. At a given time, one of the production sites was shut down, was closed down, and the testing machine at this production site was moved to another production site, and then 2 testing machines were placed side by side, and the test engineer realized that there are significant different results when doing the test on the one or the other machine, which was not detected before because there was almost no interaction between the 2 labs, and both labs thought they are performing well, but in direct comparison it was clear that it was not. Finally, the problem was identified that different grips have been used. There was no standard, no clearness what kind of grip is the better one. So even there was no indication which kind of result is the right one, but they were different. And the solution, of course, is to use the same kind of grips now at this company all over the world in all testing labs. And this could have been prevented if they would have done periodic round-robin tests and interlaboratory comparison tests, because then they would have seen the difference in the past, and not just by luck when placing 2 machines side by side. What is the result of such a round-robin test? The result is a so-called set score plot. It's defined in the ISO 13528. This result is really simple to read. The strong blue line here in the middle is the average over all laboratories and of all results in the data set, or it's given by a known value. For example, if you use a specimen with a known reference value. And also the uncertainty, that's the blue corridor here. The uncertainty is either calculated from the data defined by the industry standard, or it is calculated and estimated from the data if it's not known beforehand. And then finally, the 2-set boundary is a consensus of the community, which you typically say, okay, if you are within the 2-set limit and boundary with your lab, then everything is fine. And if you're out of the 2-set boundary, you should do something and correct this. And also in case of accreditation, if you miss the 2-set boundary, then you can get in trouble within your accreditation. And then finally, the single boxes, the small boxes here or here, are the participants, the single labs here in this case. Every lab did a test 3 times, repeated 3 times, and this is the average of the lab and the deviation of the lab. And then you see here, this lab in average is somewhat nice, but the deviation is a little high, and there are others where the deviation is a little bit closer, with a more detailed introduction here. For example, the lab on the right upper side here is in average too high. This is an indicator for a systematic issue, and also the deviation is a little bit higher than others. So they have some issues in the stability of their processes, and they have a systematic issue. On the other hand, we have here a lab that is performing low values, still just in 2 set, but typically they start to do something that they will never leave the 2 set boundary. And here also it's a systematical issue. Here and here in the middle, these are labs that are performing fine. They have a deviation that is clearly within the uncertainty, expected uncertainty, and their average is somewhat close to the consensus average. And one little thing is, take care, this is all calculated by the data. So labs like this have an influence on the overall uncertainty if it's calculated from the data. That's a methodical issue. You can't do anything about it, but you should have this in mind a little bit. And now let's have a look at a larger one. This is a round-robin test currently running on labXplore. It's where we have a free of charge marketing action running at the moment. So in this round-robin, you can take part. It's a tensile test on plastics according to ISO 527. And there are a few specimens left, a few words later on that, how you can get this. And here we have at the moment 45 participants in, and also you see here that there are a few labs that perform not that nice. Most of them perform really nice. Here in the middle we have 2 candidates. They have a high deviation, so it's somewhat a guess what they're doing, but their guessing in average is really good. And here we have on the right hand, we have the labs with values outside of the outer limits. And also on the left-hand side, we have the labs that are out of 2 set to the lower direction. And you can see here the value, for example, it's 44.9, and we expect some values within the 4,700-800s. So I guess that in this case, they just missed the decimal point by 2 digits. So it's a very simple mistake, but that can behave, and if it would be a real test, then this lab would deliver totally wrong values, which can cause really strong impacts. And what we learned from this, we got in contact with the customers on the left and right hand side, is that there are many different reasons for that, from wrong equipment used, wrong parameter setting at the equipment, equipment used or for example, not using equipment enforced by the ISO. For example, the length measurement was performed on the crosshead instead of extensiometers. So all these things that can go wrong, we've seen here, but the nice thing is that over 90% of the customers did a nice performing job. So this is what you can learn from these values. And in labXplore, it's a little bit interactive. Here in the screenshot, you can see it. You get information about the average, the assigned values. You can play around a little bit. I will show you this later on by excluding, for example. So you can play a little bit what if a data set is not part of the data set. So it's a little bit of simple interactive statistics. So in summary, for whom is the platform? What's the target group? The biggest target group are the 2 kinds of the 2 one here on the left side. the laboratory manager want to ensure his accreditation, which requires participation in different round robins, or want to do a weekly or whatever, weekly, daily round robin from himself over different sites worldwide. And here in this case, this is the persona with the quality manager at the whole company, and she wants to do some kind of statistical comparisons between the labs, suppliers, maybe customers. She wants to implement a control chart and check whether their processes are still running fine. If they have changed something, for example, moved a machine, updated a software, did some modernization, calibration, whatever. When you have an indication that the system behavior could have been changed, then you could participate in a round robin and ensure that everything still is fine. And in the right-hand side, it's more towards R&D and committee work. If you want to validate a new kind of measurement and to know how precise the measurement could be in average, or want to get a feeling of uncertainty, or you want to establish a new manufacturing process, then the right-hand side is your choice. And why labXplore? Why a digital platform for all this? Well, the world today is more or less digital paperwork or digital paper process. The organization is organized by email, by sending attachments, by tables. There's no transparency in it. It's by far not real time, because an organizer is starting, then the group is forming, then they are invited. You have a registration phase, typically about 2 or 3 months. Then if enough participants are are listed, then the shipping of the specimen starts. Then all the labs have to perform the test, and when the last lab send their results, then the organizer can start building a static report and then sending it. And overall, this process is taking 6 to 9 months from the start to until you receive your report. And that's a really long time, and it's a lot of organization overhead in it, which is not necessary if you place this on labXplore and a digital platform, where you get your reports just in time in a dynamic way. It's all transparent. Everything is locked in the log files of the platform. We have really transparency in it. You can assign some comparisons with your partners. The evaluation is done within the in the platform, and we call it a hop-on. So if a round robin is ongoing, you register for the round robin, then the specimen is sent to you. This is taking a couple of days, not more, and then you do the test and the results, and then you get immediately your results. So overall, it can be done within a week or 2 after you decide to do a round robin test. So way faster, way simpler, way smarter. That's the reason why we developed labXplore. And as I initially said, labXplore is very close related to Zwickrell, but somewhat independent as organized as a startup. We are industry independent as Zwickrell is, but we are also machine independent. So if you don't have a Zwickrell machine, you can also participate in the round robins and enter your result. And it's also independent from any kind of material or parameters. And it's way more, it's not limited to destructive material testing. It's open for any kind of round robin testing. So you can use labXplore for your whole lab, for all kinds of machines, for all kinds of tests you do. For example, we have customers, they are doing smell tests, they're doing burn tests, color information or color reading tests. I don't know the strong details, but these are machines or are things that are by far not within the Zwickrell portfolio, but anyway can be performed within labXplore. So one single tool for your whole lab for all kinds of round robin tests, even for chemical analytics tests. And how does it work? It's really simple. There is an organizer of the round robin, which can be either in bigger companies, this can be a single laboratory and offers this then for the whole company. but it can be also, if you are smaller, then you can act as an organizer by yourself and then make it open to the world and invite others. We have 3 different kinds of visibility levels within labXplore. First is you are the organizer and it's company internal only, and then only other labs of your company are invited and will see the round robin test and can participate. The second level is within your company and your partner network. So these are other labXplore users you know, for example, suppliers, customers, or partner companies, whatever. Then you have a closed group, but larger than your company borders. And the highest one is then you can decide to make it public. Then you are the organizer of a round robin. And the whole world can see your offering, and the whole world can participate in your round robin. So that's the part of the organizer who defines the round robin, which kind of specimen is used, which standard is used, is there a standard used, or is it a free definition? And for all others, it's a little bit simpler because they do not need to do step number 1. They only start at step number 2. They are invited in case of a closed group, or they find it with our database. And then they just say, hey, I want to participate. Then they receive the specimen a couple of days later. They run the test, they submit the results, and they immediately have access to the results and can evaluate them and learn from the results. So participation is really, really, really simple, and even organizing a round robin on your own is simple within labXplore because the platform assists you to all steps of the process. Okay, that is now what labXplore offers. A few words on the license model of labXplore. The basic license is that the license fee is 1,000 euros per lab per year. And within this subscription, all updates are included. And you can do as much round robins either as an organizer or as a participant as you want. There's no limitation in it. And the only thing is that the organizer can decide to set a price for the specimen, but only for the specimen, not for platform usage, anything else, just for the specimen. And these prices are very different depending on the kind of specimen. For example, a simple plastic specimen is not that expensive, but if you have a very special composite or metal specimen, then they could be a little bit more expensive, but that's what you all know. So that's the basic license. Then you get some discount if you have a few more labs within your company. And finally, if you're an enterprise user with a lot of laboratories and production sites, then you can also purchase the unlimited enterprise license. Then you have unlimited number of round robins and also unlimited number of laboratories that you can add to labXplore. So it's from very small labs with maybe companies with maybe one lab, one machine, up to the big one. And even if we have a license fee, what can you save anyway? We have some indication here these are values given from our customers, and they say, okay, we are using it, and what is the reduction of our administration costs? You can read through this later on. I don't want to go in detail that much, but you can see here that the administration costs per round robin and the overall administration costs are reduced dramatically. These are empirical values, and even if we add our license fee for these examples here, the saving of costs is significant. This just for the management. And in summary, labXplore is available as a cloud service, so 24/7, no local infrastructure, just as a browser app. It's very flexible. It's not limited to a special kind of machine, brand, method, industry, whatever. It's very, very generic. The transparency is given because everything is traceable. We have simple statistical evaluations. If you want to do more and very special evaluation, then you can download the data set in different file formats, and then you can apply your own statistical analysis if you want, and if you are not satisfied with what is already in the tool. And of course, all the data are secured and are encrypted. The group thing I mentioned is the thing with the company internal round robin, the partnership round robin, and the worldwide round robins. And what's currently under development, it's not released so far, but it will be included within the license without any additional fee if it's ready, is the AI support. Because today, if you receive bad values in your round robin, then you have to start an analysis, which can be very tricky to figure out what is wrong. And we hopefully can assist you with AI support in the future to give you some hints based on all the data we've collected to say, hey, typically the reason is this and that for the reason for your data. But that's future. Just a short commercial block. We offered currently a free of charge round robin offer for either the tensile tests according to ISO 527 or to melt flow according to ISO 1133. If you are interested in participating, here's the link where you can request the specimens. It's not available for all countries at the world. Just register, and then we will see if it's possible to deliver the specimens to you. And also, we can only deliver the specimens as long as we have one. And it's very simple. Just register, request the specimen, do the test, and get your results immediately. And if you have any further questions in the future, or any concerns about labXplore, whatever comes to your mind, just contact the labXplore team by this contact information, either by the website or by the email address given here. And now, before we come to the Q&A part, let's just have a short look into the platform itself. This is the round robin where you've already seen the screenshot so far. And you can see here all the labs, and you see the ones with the higher and lower deviation. And for example, here you can choose to kick out some labs from the calculation and say, hey, how would the report look like if these 3 bad guys here would not participate? You see in this case that there's not a big change because there's already an outlier implementation, an outlier elimination established as defined in the industry standard. But then you can, we've seen the chart has changed slightly, and then you can look how is it for other how would it look like for other parameters like the tensile modulus, tensile strengths, and so on. So it's a little bit interactive, and as I already said, here are all the values of all the participants, and you can download them from here. And the rest of the platform, just try it out by yourself, because currently it's free of charge for at least 3 months. In several cases, we can extend this to 6 months. And if you have just bought a new machine, or you are currently buying a new machine, then you get 1 year access for free. And within here, you can edit all the machines you're owning in your company. Well, connection's a little bit slow today. Within here, you can see what kind of test specimens are possible in your machines. Here are the laboratories. Within all your company here, you manage your partners and of course the users. Here we have one partner, for example. So in case of taking participation of our instance and the partner within one round robin, then we see the names in clear. And finally, in the round robin, that's the most interesting part. Here, then you see the definition of a round robin. It says a name, a description. It could be assigned to an industry standard. There could be some limitations. For example, if you have a strong aging effects, then we can give a very short time frame to do the tests. There are the test variables define the specimens, the participants, So that's all defined here. And if you take part in the round robin, then you just add your results here. And if you go to evaluation, then you will end up here within the statistical tool. If you are interested in labXplore, contact us, follow us on our social media website, and so on, and stay in contact, or contact your local sales and service team. They all know about labXplore, and then they can also assist you or hand you over to us. Okay, thank you so far. Bye and have a nice day.